Right, hello. Tonight we're talking about, oh my goodness, quadratic equations. Could it possibly be true? But of course, doing it the bubbly maths way and the aiming high way, it's not what you think it's going to be. So what do we need for tomorrow? Well, first of all, let's very quickly share so that as many people as possible get to see it. And then I've got to share the screen. So what we're going to be doing, these activities are going to be suitable for all ages from 4 to 18-year-olds. And of course, what we do with the 4-year-olds isn't quadratic equations. So what it does is it gives you an understanding from the bottom up of how quadratic equations come about, of reviewing the real fundamentals and the real basics of how to actually come across them and interpret them and what do they mean. It's not just a word, not just two words. So let me see if I can actually succeed in doing a watch party here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen so that you can see. There we go. Oh, success. My goodness, it doesn't always work. So I'm going to share the screen and show you the document. Now, some warning. Some of these things on this document look a bit, what's the word? There's a word for it. Overwhelming. There's another different word for it. So welcome if you've just joined. Caroline from Bubbly Maths presenting activities offered by AIMSEC and the Aiming High website. So these lives are intended for people who are doing maths at home, and they're aimed at 4 to 18-year-olds. And the idea is that these activities have been written now. The AIMSEC provides courses for teachers in Africa on maths teaching to become better maths teachers, better at what they do. And because maths is one of those subjects you can never know enough. Even the people that are teaching it are always learning. And the people that go on the courses, there's bursaries available, and we'll be fundraising. You'll see us fundraising for bursaries for these teachers. They live and work in disadvantaged communities in rural areas, and they are some of the most dedicated teachers on this planet. They work I speak to people from all over the world. I'm not a teacher, and I take my hat off to teachers. Oh my goodness, the circumstances that some teachers work in. And why do they do it? They do it because they want to give those children the best possible chance to rise up from poverty and give them a chance to do something, reach their dreams. If they're able to set dreams, give them the tools to reach them. That's really what it's about. And these activities are aimed at giving those teachers resources for their classroom, but they're all based on very simple things like paper sticks and just the really simple things that you can get in the most remote little shops, or use banana leaves. And those, since the COVID lockdown, there have been resources added to the Aiming High website, which are for family learning, for home learning, and for inclusion. So that would be for special educational needs and this learners who are not engaged in the activities that are project-based, where you can start at the base. They're low threshold, high ceiling activities. So you can go in at the 4-year-old level, because all those activities are fun anyway. They're more like they're very game-like. And then you can just keep building on that, and you keep growing until you're stretched, and go a little bit, so you're really kind of pushing yourself a bit, and then you can relax. and then you can come back to it and stretch a little bit further, because you're going to be building on previous knowledge and previous experience, and stretch a bit further, and then you can relax, go away, do something else, then later on come back to the same activity and keep stretching. So they're low threshold, high ceiling. And for those that are coming in at a higher level, it's still, there are questions in there and activities in there that are going to stretch at the higher level as well. So that's the kind of activity. So that's why the warning is you are going to see some things that you might think, oh, and that's okay, because you'll also see when we get there that the activities can start at something a 4-year-old can achieve. So here we go, share screen. Here goes nothing. See if I can find it. Okay, now I guess I have to share this screen and then go, so you'll see me, and then found it. Here it is. Right. So there you go. Look at that. I've set it up so that we've got the early years bit. So we've got, just to show what I was talking about, we literally have the early years thing here. So we've got perimeters. We're talking about perimeters, and the way we're leading on to quadratic equations is by looking at area. And we're starting with the first principles, which is perimeters. And how are we measuring the perimeter? We're not measuring it with a ruler. We don't use rulers a lot of the time in early years, certainly not for 4-year-olds. We use hands. We use hand spans. We use feet. I'm not going to show you my feet, but I do have 2 feet, thank goodness. So we use the hand span and the length of the feet, so the children can actually measure and compare and see, well, is 1 foot pace, one leap, 1 step the same for all the children? What about adding the grown-ups into the equation? What happens then? Do the grown-ups have to take more or less steps? Who in the class has to take most steps and who has to take least steps, depending on, the observations come in. You allow them to discover that the higher you are, the longer your legs might be. And we can use the handprints. We're doing inserting art. So have a play. Start at the beginning, and with your younger learners. And then lower primary, we're looking at handspan. We're now measuring the handspan. So we'll be doing that in the morning. You're measuring it, and then you can actually work out using handspans. You can start measuring things, and you're looking at the perimeter. And then upper primary, so we're now talking 7 to 11-year-olds. Get the tape measure out. We'll measure windows. We're looking at a rug, different things, getting more sophisticated and more accurate in the measurements as well. So that's all we've done for the up to the finishing primary, which is age 11. All we're doing is looking at perimeters. So you can do that. And it's fun activities. You measure the things. You measure your own feet. You measure your own hands, and then you measure the things in the world around you. Coming to lower secondary, we're adding a bit of extra. We're using a piece of string. We're just taking it a little bit at a time. Each level is just a little stretch. You keep going up to the level where each of your learners is just a little bit stretched. If you stop where I'm comfortable doing that because I know that, then you're not learning. If you're comfortable doing it because you already know it, okay, so you're practicing, you might be getting a bit more fluent in it. But where you really get the benefit is when you stretch into that area where you don't know. Now, that's why I say when you're doing maths, you need courage. Courage is an absolute requirement when you're doing mathematics, because you need the courage to go to that place where you don't know, you might be confused, you don't know what the solution is, you don't know what you're going to do about it, and there's no one up to even ask about it. But you know what? Just like if you're doing a puzzle, you go away, keep coming back, have another go away, keep coming back, have another go. Eventually, as long as you don't give up, the one guaranteed time when you're going to fail is if you give up. Then you're going to fail because you've given up. You're not going to do it. Or if you never even start in the first place. With everything else, perseverance, determination, tenacity, train your mind to think logically, do exercises. These wonderful aiming high activities will get you there. So we're moving on to curtains. We're now going to go on to actually using curtains so that the maths gets a little bit more elaborate. And then we're going to quadratic equations at years 11, 12 and 13. So you're looking at 15 to 18-year-olds. And then we're looking at how you create a quadratic equation. But it's not just that. If you have a look here, you'll see that it really is, you're taken through the process, and you're taken through in a really thorough and clear way so that you can get to grips with it. The language here, the currency, by the way, is in Rand, because this resource is based in South Africa. So if you see the R anywhere on these activities, they are Rand. And so that's another thing you can do, is get your young learners to work out what, in this case, were 5,166 Rand and 67.67 Rand, what that is in your currency. So how much would curtains, or this in this case is fancy material, how much would that cost in your country? And you can even compare. You can go and find out how much curtain material is in your country. Make it real. Make it real, make it real, make it real. And if they're not interested in the curtains that go in the living room or somebody's wherever, find out material that they might be interested in, or something to do with surface area that they are interested in. What are their interests? And if you say just computers, then that is happening a lot these days. You know what? I can usually find a way. I can usually find a way in, and it's a matter of wanting to and just getting them out of out of computer land. But there is a way, and the incentive is often to do what the things that they want, the things that they love. So I'm just going to cover this bit, generic competencies. So you're using spatial skills, properties of shapes and objects. And I'm just going to read it. Objects to identify, pose and solve problems creatively and critically. Develop critical thinking skills, leading to applying concepts of perimeter to problems in real life. And I'm going to, there we go. So that's essentially what we're going to be doing in the morning. And we're going to be actually doing the activities with perimeter. I'm going to be measuring my hand. So get a ruler, a measuring tape, and something to measure. So what will I be measuring? I'll probably be measuring this chap here. So it's the one that's easiest for me to bring in front of the camera. And I am interested estimating. I've got an idea how much it is. So the first thing we're going to be doing is estimating it. And then we'll be measuring it. So that is 9 o'clock in the morning for 7 to 18-year-olds. That's London time. And then 10 o'clock for early years, 4 to 7-year-olds. That's London time. And then tomorrow night, 8 o'clock at this time, we'll be introducing, well, we won't be just introducing, we'll be playing the game of the weekend. So every weekend we play a game, and those games are really valuable because they do two things. They make maths fun. They can engage, and we highly recommend you engage everyone that's in the home in those activities, and you are honing your skills, you're developing thinking skills, you're developing strategy, you're developing how to handle failure. Remember, the one thing that's guaranteed to fail is if you give up or you never start in the first place. If you are enjoying these lives, please do share them, tell other people about them, tell other people about the group, Making Maths Fun for kids of all ages. And then we also have 2 YouTube channels. We've got the Maths Toys YouTube channel, which has a video that eventually it'll have a video that matches every single home learning guide that's on the Aiming High website, so that it makes it easier to follow. And also, because we do things that we measure things out, we make them nice and systematically, whereas when I do them on here, it can be a little bit haphazard. I know that. And whereas on the Maths Toys channel, it's very easy to follow. And and on the Bubbly Maths, you've got all these lives going up, and we're going to be interviewing people, doing lives interviewing people. We're going to do some challenges, and we're going to find a way of doing the peanut butter and jelly sandwich challenge. Can't say it, and other activities on the YouTube channel. Maths jokes. We've got some fun things to do there. And then there's the AIMSEC Facebook page, which has these lovely little memes. You can go over there if you just want to switch on your brain, want to get a little bit of engagement in maths without having to think about it too much. And all of these activities, unlike when you're in class and you've got to solve it, all of these are aimed at switching on your brain, engaging your thought, and working on your problem solving. And it's not about getting the answers, it's about going on the journey. And you will get to the answers eventually, as long as you persevere with it. But it's not about doing it all in one session. It's not about getting under pressure because it's not working. You go away, you come back. It's amazing how after having a sleep over it, or go off and have some lunch, have a break, come back a week later even, you can get so much more clarity just by having just let it simmer, just let it gel, let it process in the back of your mind. Then ideas, sometimes it can come to you in the middle of the night and wake up going, oh yeah, I've got it now. But for goodness sake, write it down, because that's happened to me. And then I woke up in the morning and I couldn't remember again. But I did what you always work it out eventually, because I never give up. So there. Now let me see if we've got any comments on Facebook. I don't like to be rude. I don't like to leave people hanging. Let me see. We have John Cooper, Frosty. Hello. Andy Davis. Why have I got all my clowns on here today? Hello, Andy. Rod in South Africa. So the other two are in England. Rod in South Africa. I don't know where Hendrik is. I really need to find out. And Russell, thank you for joining us. It's always lovely to see you. And then let's just double check, which may or may not be on here. No, I don't have the other one. So if you have left a comment, I will check later and answer you back. Thank you so much for joining. And let me see, got to find the bit where I can end the live. See you in the morning. That'll be 9 o'clock London time, or on the replay. Thank you. Bye-bye.